I want to take a housework with Suzanne video here, and I am so tired today that I did put this on outside in. That's the level tired I am today, and it's still pollen season. So this is a lot of sniffles. And I want to comment on something I saw on Twitter, this little snippet of a podcast or a live stream of a therapist talking about tolerating being the bad object, that the therapist has to tolerate being the bad object, and that patients always will transfer the bad parent onto the therapist. Did he use the word projection? Yeah, whatever, you know what I mean. And I want to talk a little bit again about something I have written extensively about on Twitter before, and that is how this just does not work in the Norwegian system, and how the main problem in Norwegian therapy is that Norwegian therapists read the same books as British, American, European, global, whatever. We read the same books here. And of course there are some Norwegian books, but it's still very Americanized, Europeanized. And it's not written inside of the Norwegian system. It's written as if we were in America. And so what therapists and students, psychology students in Norway, what they are presented with, what they are presented with is exactly that, like that little YouTube snippet, where the problems they have to be aware of is, that they have to tolerate being the bad object and transference and counter-transfers and so on and so on. But the main problem therapists in Norway has to be aware of and actively work to counter, that is that no therapy, no school of therapy, no theory, no methodological whatever, nothing from outside of Norway, nothing that is not developed particularly in Norway by Norwegians for Norwegians can be applied in Norway, because we have this unique system. Because we have, and I can repeat it again, that between 2017 and 2021, I was stuck in the Norwegian mental health care system. I was stuck in the psychiatry because of this system with work assessment, arbeidsavklaringspenger, and our tiered sick leave system. And when patients get stuck in this system where you can't choose your own therapist, you can't choose your own preferred school, you can't choose your own preferred theories, you just have to, you are just assigned, the patient is just assigned to the therapist, and it's random, and it can be this complete idiot who has never even heard of your diagnosis. And of course they try. The point is to actually match the right patient with the right therapist. That is the point of it, of this system. That it's a good thought behind the system, but the people who have made a system, they were a bit too late with educating people like me who could actually understand the system and help people who work in the system. And then they just, the country got into this situation where they just actively pushed me, these incompetent, cruel and mentally ill workers just effectively pushed me out of a job, pushed me out of the work, of the formal work. So I can't go in there now. Even if they wanted to, they can't get me to work for them. So no matter how much they need supervision. Yeah, I can't show up. I'm sorry. I'm stuck here. I'm now in this position, and that's the fault of the workers in the system. They needed a supervisor, but they decided to abuse their supervisor. So it's a system that, the Norwegian system takes for granted that cruel workers don't exist, that evil workers don't exist, that people who want to mele sin egen kake, that they don't exist. The system takes for granted, and it's completely, it's made by idiots, to say it like that, because they had a good heart and they had a stupid brain. So it's the system of Norway would work if it already worked. Because if it already worked, we would all only have good workers working in the system, in the public system. But because the Norwegian system doesn't work, we never get to the point where it actually starts working. So we are constantly just in this breakdown. Where was I? Yeah, so the main problem, I have not done my nails, and I have I have peeled some oranges, so I am yellow on my fingers. Yeah, I really look professional today. There's a lot of coffee under my coffee cup. Oh my god. But it's Sunday and I'm retired, so. So what Norwegian therapists need to be aware of and work on, what they need to be told, is that the problem, first and foremost, is that no psychology, no type of therapy that are made outside of Norway and not made to fit this frame of the Norwegian public system, that can't be applied here. You can't use it here. You can sit and read American books from morning to evening, but you can never use it in Norway. So Norwegian therapists and psychology students, they actually never even get to the point where they can start to address the problems that are mentioned by, the discourse, the therapy discourse on Twitter, the therapy discourse on YouTube, on Substack and so on. What you guys out there in the world are discussing, important things to discuss in therapy, not in therapy, but by psychologists, by therapists. Norwegian therapists aren't even there. Norwegian therapists can't actually, they can't join your discussions yet, because they first have to get their head wrapped around that we don't have a Norwegian psychology. We don't have Norwegian therapy. So we have this system here, and we have the different schools of therapy and the field of psychology and the different theories and so on. And they do not match that. That's just a clash. And you can't, you have to, in some way, you have to take what is in the field of psychology in the different therapy schools, and you have to merge it with the Norwegian system. But we are not yet there. We are not yet there, people. And we have, it's been so many decades now, and it was in the 1980s when Gunn Nimsen wrote her books for the teacher education about psychology, by child psychology. And it's like, that was in the 1980s, and now we are 2026, and we are still not there. We have still not reached the point where we even can start to merge this. We can't take the field of psychology, the global field of psychology. We can't take the different therapy schools and merge them Because we are not yet there. We are not yet at the point. It's just insanity. We are not yet at the point where Norwegian therapists and Norwegian psychology students and the people working in the field of psychology, no matter if it's the school or in the adult psychology, before they realize that this is Norway, they are in Norway, we are not in the USA, we are not in England, we are not in Germany. Before everybody working inside of the field of psychology in one way or another and in the psychiatry system, before everybody there accepts that this is Norway, we are not yet there that we even can start being a part of this global discussion. Yeah, so problem one that has to be solved for Norwegian therapists and Norwegian students of psychology in the field of psychology in Norway. Problem one, the first on the list that has to be addressed before we can go to problem two, is we can't even apply principles from psychology to the Norwegians.